Okay, so fantastic. Why don't we go ahead and get started? So, welcome to Staying Strong and Positive for Ourselves and Our Children, the Be Strong Families webinar series. We are super excited to have you with us today. And I am your host, Sarita Sashington. What are we talking about today? Adolescent development and what it all means for parenting. I just like to say, I like to go on record say that I am praying and sending positive energy to parents of all teens and young adults. All right, let's go deep. Next, thank you. So our ways to engage, if you aren't talking, go ahead and please put your phone on mute. When you're ready to comment, you can raise your hand and we'll unmute you, and then you'll need to unmute yourself so we can hear you. Please be patient with us. Sometimes we get a lot of people in, and yes, Mary, you do. So, it might take us a while to get to you. Also, if you want to, there'll be, we're going to have, today is just discussion. So we're really going to just have a bunch of questions that we talk about. And if you would like to be a part and you want to raise your hand and come on screen with us to share, just, raise your hand. We'll do that, right? Because I love company. And then everything else can go in the chat, but make sure it's going to all panelists and attendees. I often make the mistake of not doing our panelists and attendees. Don't be like me, okay? These are ways to engage. Next. So here are these wonderful, wonderful things that we all love. And this is how we create emotional safety for all of our trainees and especially our cafes. The first one is speak for your own experience and use I statements. So while you're here today, do me a favor and don't talk about anybody else's experience except your own, because that is the one that matters. Golden rule, treat other people the way you want to be treated, right? And this wraps up all of our cafe agreements, like no judgment and don't give advice and all that stuff, okay? So golden rule. Full presence, please no multitasking. We are so excited that you decided to spend your lunch with us. We are encouraging you to be all in during this time so you can get what you need from this session. And we are talking about teens and young adults. You know you need to be fully present for this conversation because, all right, and if you need a minute, take a minute. Okay, do we all agree to these agreements? Just say yes, I agree. I see a lot of people saying yes, they agree. Fantastic. People are raising their hands. And who has their hands raised? Okay, so Jacqueline, is that Jacqueline, Caroline, and Yesenia? Hey, Yesenia! Okay, Yesenia, I know you love me. So I'm just going to leave it there because I just saw a message I got from you. It was like, oh no, how did I miss this? Please forgive me. All right, so if your hands are raised, is that because, you're just saying good morning, or do you want to be on? All right. Fantastic. Jacqueline, are you trying to talk, or are you just raising your hand to say you agree? Just saying good morning. Cool, Yesenia. Thank you. Glad you could join us today. All right. So let's get it. Since this is emotionally safe space, let's have the conversation. Who doesn't want to have this conversation? So, like always, I'll read the question and then I will share my own while you are getting your questions together. And if you would like to come on with us and talk about, and share your question, you can totally do that. Raise your hand and we will do it for you. How does your approach to parenting foster your teen or emerging adult independence? How does your approach to parenting foster your teen or emerging adults independence? I think for me, first of all, I just want to say that I'm glad I'm at the teen phase, and now I have all these great young adults, and they're not even young adults anymore. They're almost as old as I am. Adrian, you want to come on? You want to talk? So I am okay. We're going to promote to, all right, Adrian, go ahead.
Good morning. How are you? It's so
Great.
nice to see you guys. I just want everyone to know, hi. I have older um, children, and they're 18 and 21, and we went through quite an experience in the teens. And the most important thing that I did was to back off and take my time before going back to talk to my children about whatever it was that happened. So that for me, what that meant was if there was an experience and it became emotional, I would use the words, let's disperse, or let's go in our rooms, or let's go our separate ways, whatever worked at that moment. And we literally split up. We don't have a very large apartment, but we would split up. We would shut our doors. We would calm down. And that really helped a lot because it took the emotion out of the conversation and it put our objectivity back into the conversation, and it gave each of us time to think and consider what happened and what we could have done better and what we should have done differently. And if you come at it with love, and a lot of times that's what the missing ingredient was for us, then when we came back together and we talked about it, maybe the next day in the car when I had a captive audience and they couldn't leave or run out and be upset because I was driving and they didn't want any problems to happen. So, those were good moments. And eventually I transferred all of that to the dining room table. I insist that we all eat dinner together. So I transferred it to the dining room table now, and as young adults, it seems to be working for us. And it kind of gives everyone an opportunity to say their piece too, because you don't want to silence your children. You want to hear what's going on because you can miss some very, very important things that you can't figure out, like mental health issues and physical change issues like hormones. Everybody has them. So we just want to be very careful that we're allowing them a safe space too. Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you so much. And what we hear in the chat, we have Dan says, someone said open door policy, come talk with me about anything. Dan said, I try to give them opportunities to make their own decisions for activities, clothes, etc., so they can practice often. Be as open as age appropriate allows. Amen to taking a break for space to process. My kids love fufu coffee, so I use this opportunity to talk one-on-one with them. Mary said, and in the green, and in anything agreeing to disagree, I present the choices and options. And if we agree, then fine. But if not, their choice is always considered. But some things require mom has final say. And this allows room for trust building. And I own mistakes or poor choices. I still practice this today. They are 42, 34, and 21 years of age. Yesenia said, for me, I have younger siblings, and we're about 8 years apart. So for me, I was the one that dealt with this since my parents are always working. So for us, we gave them advice and let them know that the way that we choose to live and the people we surround ourselves with, how it reflects on us, and that it's okay to talk about your feelings and open thoughts without being judged. These are all some fantastic ways to foster the teen's independence. I think the only thing that I did differently, I think I did most of what you guys are saying, except I used to love to have my children. I know that I did this with my oldest, and I think my two oldest, but having the conversation around, teaching them how to be good decision makers, because I really felt like when they left me that they needed to be able to get what they need. And part of being independent is being able to make good decisions, to be good decision makers. So thank you guys. Those are all great. Shanika said, when issues arise, I try to have solution-based conversations. I often ask, then what is the desired outcome of the situation? Then we work towards those outcomes. Yes. And I loved Adrian holding her kids hostage in the car. so they couldn't run out and get away. Good for you, Adrian. All right, next question. You're welcome. How do you deal with food and body image issues in your teen's diet? How do you deal with food and body image issues in your teen's diet? Wow. So we have Jacqueline who has raised her hand. Jacqueline, do you want to come on screen? And I am going to allow you to talk. Uh-oh. All right, Jacqueline.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I have a 20, 16, and a 15-year-old, and so they're all shaped. We're all shaped real differently, and I know that, right now, social media plays a big part in the appearance and how our kids look at themselves. So, keeping in mind that, culture, their foods, they play a big part in how our image, right? So, what I've done is I try to, you know, have us all eating healthy, kind of as a parent, because I'm a single mother, lead by example, you know. So, hey, you guys, let's work out. So we all have gym memberships. You know, we all are on the same page of what we're eating. We're teaching each other, like learning about how food affects our system, and like the making better choices, things like that. So make it like a family thing, not just kind of like, hey, you got to eat this because I see you, you're putting a couple of pounds on, because I've been in households where those conversations, they are having those conversations. Hey, I see you gaining some weight, so why don't you do this? No, we all have to play a big part in nutrition, teaching, learning. And then I've gone as far as, hey, this week it's going to be your turn to look up like good and healthy recipes that we can all enjoy. So just, like teaching each other, and we're all learning, and like as the parent, just leading by example. Thank you.
Am I muted? I don't know how I muted myself, but my daughter had to get on me about body shaming, and I wasn't doing it intentionally, but because I would talk about myself all the time, then I was modeling, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna be, mindful not to body shame, not even myself, because then the kids are watching, and for them, that was teaching them how to deal with their body issues. Oh, thank you. Let's see what you guys said in the chat. Wow. Somebody said, let's see. Adrian said, I try to purchase healthy food and only have one snack or junk food in the house per day. It's a challenge. I never discuss my children's weight or body image. Oh, wow. I lost it. How's that happen? Jeez Louise. All right. When issues arise, I try to have solution-based conversations. There we go. I never discuss my children's weight or body image at all unless they bring it up, and then I say that I love them. Someone else said, by displaying various positive body images throughout the home, observing food intake, and empowering them through positive affirmations for beauty and body imagery. Adrian said, we later discovered that one child does have a medical issue that is beyond their personal control right now, so we just try to be supportive. Lawanda, always give health choices and one cheat day. Oh, Yamuna, this is a fantastic question. I really think it starts young. It also is about modeling behavior and not modeling. Too much focus on how the body looks versus how the body feels. We are not allowed to abuse our bodies with self and hate. The kids do not have hangups on food. They have friends with eating disorders and their body dysmorphia. And it's so sad. Who's it said early on, 8 to 10 years old, spend time, I think that's Mary, spend time sharing. That bodies are all different and process food differently, encouraging movement, making choices that benefit the body, and diet is set an example. Then with weight gain and eating habits, and again, allow them to choose and accept the outcomes of the choices they make. They gotta see me make changes. Real talk, real talk. You guys have a lot of great ones there. Thank you for that. That's a great question. All right, Dee, let's go to the next one. So, how do you feel about your teenager dating? And what rules do you have around dating? Anybody want to join me? How do you feel about your teenager dating, and what rules do you have around dating? Hmm. I don't know. I think it's a normal part of life for me. I grew up with a bunch of eight. Hey, Deanne. Well, I grew up with, I'm the third oldest of eight. And so I dated, my daughters dated, my siblings dated. And then when my children got older, I hated it. I didn't want them to date either, but I knew that they would. And they could not date until they were like 16. And then it had to be with other like group dating. And then I do know now, of course, that they snuck around my back and and dated, but those are my rules anyway, because you know, I had to have some ground rules as a parent. So yeah. So for me, what rules did I have? I wasn't down for guys like showing up at my daughter's house or showing up at my house and blowing the horn. Like they had to come in and meet us. And then I had to get all of their information. Like I'm taking a picture of the back of the car and the license plate, and I just want to see you so I can take a picture of it. Because I don't know. I just want to make sure my baby comes back. And if she doesn't, that I have you on camera. So, yes, I totally get the never. I don't know. I enjoyed dating so much that I knew that my children would eventually date. What are you guys saying? It's a no for me. Laugh out loud, never. They must have a driver's license, a black belt, and taekwondo first. Real talk. Adrian said it's great they can date as long as the relationship is supportive. We still have a open door policy because our living space is tiny and I just do not want to hear it. I have older children. Yeah, well, dating, they weren't allowed to have people in their bedrooms, like with the door closed. That was a no. And then Deanna said, though I dated as a teen, 16, where's the number come from? Anyway, I think they should wait until after high school for any type of real dating. Yesenia, because they might know what is something good, but you don't know the other person's intention. So just making sure that you do your part to allow them to be safe, make sure you get to know them before they go out. And you know what? I think I'm thinking about it in regards to my daughter because my son went to an all boys school and I was so happy. I remember being so happy that he was going to all boys school because I knew that if he was surrounded by females, he would get completely, distracted. And so that's why I'm like, I don't remember him dating. He dated once he got a little bit older. So Adrian said I did ask if they wait. I was uncomfortable with dating in middle school. Oh, that's early. One was okay with that. The other was sneaking around a bit, and I would hear about it from my friends in town. Oh my goodness, you guys have a lot. I'll never be able to read all of this. Who is this? Mary says, scared as all get out when I realized my girls becoming interested in boys. That is like the scariest thing. I encourage safety first, set clear boundaries with time, locations, activities, and meeting the boy and having conversation with his parents must be clear about how I can bust kneecaps. I know my husband would just like come and like sit so the guys can see him while he had this mean look on his face, right? And then talk about his army stuff sometimes or talk about his guns, just crazy. Thankfully, they didn't have a lot of relationships. That is funny. Yamuna said we also had discussions about consent. Yes. And Jacqueline said you're going to date regardless. Yeah. So you might as well give them some boundaries. Yes. Hey, Black. The rules are the same as they were when I was a child. My 5 brothers have to meet him first, and if you pass the test, then I can date. Good stuff. Wow. These are all those types of things that we think about and encounter when we have teens and young adults. Yeah. Sandra, I don't know. That's a good question. Should the rules be different from girls and boys on dating? I personally don't think so. Coming from, Sandra said, I'm going to read it again so you guys can weigh in. Should the rules be different from girls and boys on dating? And I personally don't think they should because, and I'm probably biased because I remember being a being a teenager and like I had a curfew what time I needed to be in the house if I went on a date. And I was always like late and making up stories about why I was late. Meanwhile, my brother, who was younger than me by 2 or 3 years, I mean, he could come in all times and never get in trouble and never whatever. And I just think like it's the same. Like it should be the same. Thank you, Sandra. Good question. And we got folks answering in the chat. So thank you for that. All right, we got 2 more questions. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you, Dee. Thanks, guys. How do you teach your team responsibility around money, professionalism, and work ethic? Anybody want to come on with me on Talk Out Loud? How do you teach your team responsibility around money, professionalism, and work ethic? This makes me think about my dad because I see you, Irma. I remember my dad loaning me some money, like as a teenager, and then he would have like this whole notebook where he had listed what we owed him. If we said, Daddy, can you loan us some money? Like thinking we're getting away for something. And he would have all his stuff listed. And when we made payments and blah, blah, blah. And he taught me how to do like a budget. So I try to do it with my kids. Irma, I'm going to allow you to talk. All right, Irma, you're up.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yep. Both.
No. So one of the ways that we could teach, that we teach our teens, because we have our younger sibling who's already entering the teen years, and they do tend to have this idea that, oh, they're working, okay, there's money there. Well, yeah, but they're supposed to be already spread out or set out for specific responsibilities or payments such as rent, utility bills and stuff like that. And it's not just about you go to work and there's money coming in, no, but the money also goes out pretty quicker. And the money turns into water, essentially, for many of us, especially those that have small children in the home. It's hard. And so I think more than anything, being transparent with them and not necessarily having to like show them and like tell them, okay, this is how much I make, but sometimes that conversation can be had. You can have it with your children and your teens, and that way they can see, it's not easy. You go out and work for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, and sometimes you don't even make the full $100 per day, and your bills, and you kind of compare and contrast and see, okay, well, at the end of the day, how much money do you actually have left over? So then, things like that, I think are important to have and to be able to talk to and be open with your children about that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Irma. Thank you very much. All right. Anyone else? All right, you guys have a lot going on in this chat, and there's no way I'm going to be able to read all this. But I did see Dana talk about the green light cards, and the green light cards are wonderful for teaching kids about how to manage their money. And it also has they have like free workshops that the kids are taking that are geared toward children, right, or young people about I don't know if it's so much for teens, but it is really good for like the preteens. So we have cards for my Misha baby who is 12, and it has all these different workshops about how to take care of your money, how to invest, how to budget. It's a really fantastic um, resource, the green light card. So if you haven't checked it out, you should definitely check it out. All right, we got one more question. And you can set spending limits. Yes, I love it. And I love that I can send money to my Misha baby anytime I feel like it. And that she has some money because it makes her feel like a big person too. All right, so how does positive energy help you connect with your teen or emerging adult? How does positive energy help you connect with your teen or emerging adult? I know this, I laughed when I saw this question because I remember my kids coming to me and talking to me about things they wanted to do. And I would have all of these questions for them, like, oh, so have you thought about this? And what about this? And what about that? And how about this? And who's going to do that? And when are you going to do that? And blah, 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 blah. And you know what they call me? They call me a dream killer. I was like, why am I a dream killer? Because when they came to me with their great ideas, they just wanted to share their great ideas. They didn't want me to they hadn't figured it all out yet. They were just like talking about it. Yes, they checked me good. It was like, Mom, you're a dream killer. I was horrified. The last thing I want to do is to kill dreams. And so I thought that was me being positive, right? To like talk about those things and get their wheels turning, but it only discouraged them and made them feel like, oh, it's insurmountable. So I don't know. So now I know that positive energy, what I think is positive energy may not always be positive energy because it wasn't for that situation. But yeah, I feel like my kids need all the positive energy in today's world that they can possibly get. And so I try to infuse it into absolutely everything. It's hard to find me on a down day when I'm not sending out positive energy. I mean, I just think that's the best way to connect with anybody, but especially my young adults. So, oh my God, it is 12:29. Guys, I know you guys put some great stuff in the chat. So thank you guys for all of your great interactions today. Oh my goodness, you all have so much stuff in this chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope that people get a chance to read it all because you know that I would not because you just had so much. But I love the fact that you guys were so into today's conversation. I hope you're in for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, Kathy is talking about getting ready to launch. Friday, join us for the Parents of Teens and Emerging Adults Cafe. Monday, July 19th, maintain a positive relationship with your teen or emerging adult with Kathy. And then Tuesday, live the protective factors for financial vitality. And then I'll be back Wednesday to do the yin and yang of parenting, structure, and flow. So, guys, thank you so much for spending your lunch with us. Don't forget, these are the cards that are going to be showcased at this Friday's Parent Cafe. So we hope you can enjoy us, okay? We hope you can join us. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Wait, don't close it yet, Dee. So there's a poll coming up, and that'll give you a chance to do the poll and for people to check out the great questions that Dana posed in the that Dana put in the chat. Thank you, Dana. And thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Shamuna. All right. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Are we done? Thank you, guys. Oh, Rodolfo, you got your hand raised? Was that an accident? Okay. Maybe been saying that, leaving out. All right. Oh, okay, great.